Oh,
you said you were ready. We're live.
Hey, everybody. Hello, and welcome to This Board Game Life, episode number 97, titled 2025 Spiel des Jahres, Noms. This is episode number 97. We've done, I don't know, close to 900 or over 900 altogether shows, but every one is like the first time.
It's technology.
Yeah. You can improve the technology, but you can't improve the hosts.
That's the truth. It's really the host. It's not the technology.
Yeah, exactly. This is the show about board games, card games, any kind of games we want to talk about, or anything else we want to talk about, including technical problems or
dogs barking, hosts coughing,
sniffling, drink containers fizzing like this one just did when I opened it. Yes, exactly. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. We just had the Spiel des Jahres nominations drop the other day, so we'll talk about what got nominated. And should we try to see who's going to win? Are we going to do the...
Oh, sure.
Yeah, let's do that.
I think we should.
Based on these, yeah, because we did that last year, and I remember I don't think I did too well last year, but hey, we shall see. All right, and wait, I don't think I introduced us.
Nope.
Man, this one's totally getting derailed. I am Rob, one of your fine hosts for today. Of course, hopefully you knew that because you've been a long-time listener. And with me, as always, on my fuzzy screen, but hopefully the final recording will look good, is my good buddy Mark.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
You look like Real Video to me. Remember Real Video in the old dial-up modem days?
Dude, I'm crystal clear, and every time we record, I got nothing but, like, fuzz with you. It looks like you're at 240p.
Yeah, that's how you're looking to me, but...
Wow.
But whatever.
Who cares?
Yeah, as long as it's good.
It's all about the audio quality.
Yes. We both have faces for radio.
Exactly.
Or podcasts. Netcasts, whatever you want to call them. Anyway, here, let's get rolling with the show. Real quick, before we get on with what we've been playing, just want to make mention that we have a YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out, definitely do. We have the podcast is on there, along with unboxings, playthroughs, and reviews that Mark's been doing. And definitely like and subscribe. You check it out. It's a great way to help out the show. It helps the algorithm, present the shows to more folks, and also you get notified as soon as new content is released. All right. So what have you been playing lately, Mark?
Alrighty. So I did play some more Earth. This is a beautiful, fantastic, amazing game.
Wow. That's high praise.
It's muy fantástico. I really do enjoy Earth a lot, and it's been met with much praise from my group as well. And it's everyone that plays this really enjoys this. So really, really like this game, Earth, from Inside Up Games. That's first. I've also I got to play for the first time Jamaica. And I'm pretty sure, Rob, hey, there it is. You've played this one. And this one's an older game, 2007, but it's like it's a race around the island of Jamaica with in your pirate ship and
piratey. Yeah. I like the artwork on this one too.
Yeah, it's a fun game. It's a really well done. Yeah, what I love is that it plays up to 6, but
Mm-hmm.
it's quick. Like everyone, whoever's the captain is like rolling these 2 dice, and then they decide. And basically, everyone's going to take 2 actions, which they call a day action and an evening action. And the captain for that round rolls the dice and decides which dice goes in which action. And then everyone's going to use like the dice that's in the day action. They're going to have to use that. And everyone's going to pick a card out of 3 they have in their hand. And like the left one on the action on the left side of the card, your day action. The one on the right side is your evening action. So you're basically choosing, what you're going to do, which card you're going to play. And sometimes you're going to move forward or backwards, or you're going to gain resources based on how many things are in the die, like gold or food or things like that. There's abilities to find treasure, and you could get cursed treasure or good treasure, or you could get like special abilities. And it's really fun. It plays quick, which again, when you've got a lot of people, nothing worse than sitting there waiting for people to do their turn.
Yes.
So this is 6 people. You will play this game in 60 minutes max. And I did this.
Does it
Go
do
ahead.
6 out of box, or do you need like an expansion?
6 out of the box.
Nice.
So there are a couple expansions. I actually just picked up one, and I think the video went up today for the crew. So I did an unboxing video that went on our YouTube today for the crew, where it adds, you're replacing some of the treasure and you're adding in like another board that has like crewmates that you can basically purchase or recruit onto your crew, but they take up the place. They go into like a hold. So it actually takes up where you could put your gold or your food or your gunpowder. So the more crewmates you hire, the less the less other resources you can take in. So it's really neat how it works. I'm looking forward to playing that one here soon as well. So I'm gonna probably take that expansion with me tomorrow night to game night. To if we get a chance to play it, then we'll try out the crew expansion with it. So excellent game, and it's not. I don't think this was not an expensive game either. So really, really well, and it's good for all ages. It's not a complex game, but there is a lot of like you got to think about what you're doing, where you're going to go, because even though it's a race around the island, yeah, the first person to get around does score some points, but that doesn't guarantee a win. It's not the first one around wins, because it depends on where you are, how much gold you have in your hold, and other things like your treasure. So you could still end up not getting to the finish line and still winning the game. So it's not just simply racing around the board, but all right. On a much more complicated scale, I got introduced to an older game again from 2009 called Martian Rails. This is from Mayfair Games, and This one was, wow, you are building railroads on Mars, okay? And you start out by selecting. Now, I've only played this once, so if I get something wrong, don't rip me a new one, but I'm trying to go back. This was like 2 weeks ago when we played it. But you are picking there's like, I think 6 main cities or something like on the planet. And you've got a lead from there. You pick one and you start building your railroad. And there's limits to how much you can spend every round to put your railroad down. And depending on where you're going on this map, and it's like this board, but you're using like dry erase marker on the board. And you're drawing, everyone has a different color, and you're drawing your lines of your rail lines, and at the same time you are basically trying to pick up cargo and deliver it on your rail lines, and everyone else is trying to do the same types of things. So there's a lot of it's a very thinky game. It made my head hurt. And I think the hardest part of the game is just finding where all these locations are, because the map is huge, the printing is small, it's littered with all these little dots all over the board that you're basically connecting. I'm also old, you know.
We need binoculars in order to see.
Yeah, what's over there? But it was a very interesting game. I've not ever played anything quite like this. And I ended up getting stuck where I was basically out of money. I made a really big mistake and I misread one of my cards. I thought I was going to a certain spot. Then I got there and realized, oh no, that's not what I'm supposed to deliver there. And then I was like, the next place what cards that I had was like way down at the other end of the planet. I was just spending turns just to move, and I probably should have just like spent a turn to get rid of all my cargo cards and refresh my cards, which probably would have been a smart move at that point. But I just felt like I'm so far behind. I'm just going to try to get down there and deliver, and I never made it. It was just, I ended up having so far to go, and you can jump on someone else's rail line, but then you've got to pay them for every round that you're like on their line, and I didn't have the money to do that, so I was stuck on my own line. And a very, very interesting game. So
yeah, I think so there's like a whole series of train games, right? You know, with the numbers, you know, like 1830 and so forth. And then there's like another, I'll call it like an offshoot. They called them crayon rails. And I want to say that this one is more like the crayon version.
Yeah, it actually says, see crayon rail games for more crayon fun.
Okay. Where it just basically use crayons to, you know, draw the lines.
Crayons don't work very well because my marker died like right at the beginning.
Oh, hate that.
So they did have like a crayon from somewhere that thing was like, it did not work very well.
From your pocket?
No,
that's how you sign your name.
The couple that brought the game, she had the guy's wife had a crayon. I think they had one in the box. But they had, if this thing comes with crayons, then they replaced them with dry erase markers so that you could actually see them, and they worked a lot better.
Yeah.
So, but there's a bunch of different games in here. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Russian Rails that he said he actually likes that one better. I believe that was, but yeah, Martian Rails was pretty fun. So
it's from Mayfair Games, which I miss them. They shut down a while ago, and I have so many fond memories with so many of their games. Wish they were still around. Actually, I think they were kind of supposed to come back, but oh wait, I just looked it up. In 2024, they were relaunched under new owners. How about that?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because they had Catan, which they sold off to Asmodee.
Yeah.
And then they kind of just folded. Actually, no, I think I bought something of theirs at Gen Con last year. That was like their first reprint. So hopefully they come back under the grandeur that they were, because they were such a huge name and had so many amazing games over the years. Anyway, I digress. Please continue.
So that was Martian Rails.
Yep.
Next, I've got a biggie that I got to the table. This is Dragon Eclipse from Awakened Realms.
Ooh.
I actually have a friend of mine, Rob, you met her, Eva. Yep. Her and I are playing through it because it's a 1 to 2 player cooperative game. And so we're doing this cooperatively, and we are playing Dragon Eclipse.
That huge game is a 1 to 2 player game?
Yes, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, you can play more if you play the arena mode.
Okay.
But I don't really see the draw. They have like an expansion that is like arena focused. So you can have, I think it goes up to 4 players in the arena. Maybe it might be more than that, but I know it's at least 4 players. Let me just click on their expansion information here
Or
on
it'd
BGG.
be funny if they were like, yeah, combine copies to play with more players.
It's
Like,
it's
what?
It's
No.
3 to 4, so it's a 2v2 or 1v1v1 type of
Okay.
duel thing. So, and in that expansion, which I did not get, I just don't think that I will end up. I don't see that one getting played because it becomes more of like you're building a deck of cards, and then you're battling with these cards against each other in arena. So I think it's kind of maybe like if you kind of think like Magic, because you are building, or even like Star Wars Unlimited, you have these cards and you're gonna build a deck. But like if I buy this and then I take this to game night, no one's played it. Like, what am I gonna do? Build decks for everybody and say, here's a deck? It's just not gonna be something that like if someone else has this and they want to do it, then okay, I got my decks. Let me build my mislings, and I'll bring them and I'll battle you in the arena. But it's just that's not the main part of the game. It's kind of it's an expansion so that you can do that. But the base game is a very long story-driven campaign, and if you've played Oathsworn, there are it I've only played like one mission in Oathsworn. It's my Saturday evening group. That's what we're doing, and we did one, and then people have been gone ever since. I think this Saturday we get back to it. But so what I've seen with Dragon Eclipse, the kind of format that you have 2 different parts of the campaign or of a scenario. Okay, so like scenario 1 that now even I've been through 2 scenarios so far. The first one was the training scenario, which basically kind of walks you through how to play the game. It teaches you how to play the game. And when you basically start out by like you're in town and you're exploring, but you get to pick where you go, and then you go into the script and read what happens, and it's like a choose your own adventure kind of in that aspect. And you're going to do different things, and sometimes you'll go somewhere and it's like, well, there's nothing there for you to do because you need to do something. And so there's like, might say, oh, if token A is in slot 1, or like when things happen, it might tell you put a token here or something like that. Basically, it allows when you go back to maybe in a place you went earlier, opens up further storyline because you've now done something that allows you to advance later on. And it's also timed. So as you're kind of exploring, there is this time element that you're limited, and eventually you're going to be forced to move forward. So you're trying to figure out where should we go, what should we do, and trying to kind of manage the time, get as much things as you can done before your time runs out. And then it kind of goes into the battle phase, if you will, or the combat phase. And what you're so far, like in the very first scenario, we are controlling like what they call mislings. And so like Eva's she's got one, it's like fire based, mine's ice based. That's, you get to start out with these 2, and that's what we had to pick from. So as you go through these scenarios and you get into combat, you're fighting, like we were fighting this earth based misling. And as you go through the game, you can actually either defeat that misling or try to tame it. And if you tame it, then it's something that you can use later, so you can swap out mislings as you get them. So it's a way for you to basically add more characters, more card decks into your usable deck. Now, taming can be tough. We've tried this in our second one, in our second run, and it got to the point where it's like we're not going to be able to do it. We're either going to end up dying before we can tame this misling, but we had the ability to wipe it out and, you know, to win the scenario. So we had to make the choice of like, okay, we got to go for the win because we don't think we're going to be able to tame it, because taming requires certain conditions in a certain order to be met. So that's kind of like how the first scenario went. Then the second scenario, we went in and I was like, okay, we're going to go to the town. We're going to go explore. You got the world map. You're going to explore. Then you're going to combat. That's not what happened. There's combat and there's exploration in each scenario, but you might have more combat than expected. I'll just leave it at that. And the second scenario was very like, whoa, very intense. And it took us like, I think 4.5 hours to complete that scenario.
Was that a whoa like Joey Lawrence? Whoa.
It was like, yeah, I guess you could say that.
Okay.
It's really a really fantastic game. What I really enjoy about this is I don't know if I think I like this better with 2-player. I will say that.
What, as opposed to solo?
As to solo. Now, solo,
why is that?
Because you have a second person that has different abilities sitting across from you that can also add a different flair to the game. Or, you know, so it's like I'm ice, and I really am not happy with the ice misling. I feel like it's weak compared to the ember misling. Like, man, she's got some abilities on that thing that's just like boom, which is just nice. It's like if I was by myself, I'd have that misling. I would not take the ice one. But we can upgrade them at a certain point that I'm hoping is about to trigger on our next scenario. And which will basically all it's going to do is like double our health. But the only real difficulty about having a second player is that it adds a what they call a major corruption to the enemy that you're fighting. And it's not really an enemy. That's the other thing too about this game. These mislings are not bad. You'll understand when you go through the story, something has happened to them. Okay. Because you are a tamer of mislings. So you're not trying to kill them, but you're trying to stop them / tame them is what you want. Now you can lose. And if you lose a battle, the story still goes on. Like you don't repeat that battle. So if you win by defeating them, it tells you go to this script. If you tame them, it'll say go to another script. If you lose, it'll say yet go to another one. So you don't replay something like we did in Oathsworn. It's like, oh, if you lost the battle, you can replay that battle because you got to kind of beat it to continue. In Dragon Eclipse, you don't. No matter what your outcome is, the story's going to continue and it's going to change based on your experiences as you go through. Now, having a second player, like I said, this adds like a major corruption. So it does add health and shields and movement. So it makes that into that combat harder. But there is 2 of us battling it with different abilities. So I kind of feel like that all makes this game a little bit more enjoyable. And I just don't think I'd enjoy it as much by myself. But I can see it still being fantastic by itself. But there is an increased difficulty because you brought a second player in. And yeah, it's so far, it's fantastic. I really like the story. Now, the funny part here is it was 2 weeks ago, Rob, that you and I had a conversation and I made a comment about games with apps.
Yep.
And since then, I have purchased 3 games that all have apps. Now,
really?
I will say that only one of them requires the app. The other 2 do not require them. So
the apps are supplementary.
Correct. So Dragon Eclipse has a companion app. So when we played the game the very first time, I didn't use it, and you got this massive book that is your adventure journal. And I was just constantly flipping, go to this script, go back, and you're going back and forth, trying to find the right page to be on, and then you're reading. The companion app is free. I highly recommend it. You can play it on your phone, you can play it on a tablet, and it will read. So you've got someone reading the story to you, which is a lot better than me having to read it the whole time. And you can just say, it tells you, just like the adventure journal, if something's needed or there's a setup, it tells you in the app what you need to do to set up. And then when you've completed something and, you've completed that script and now you've done something and you've battled and you need to put a script up, you just, punch it into the app and it takes you right there and starts reading for you. It's a lot better, but it's not required, which is nice. But if you are playing Dragon Eclipse, I highly recommend getting that companion app, and it's just called Dragon Eclipse Companion. So, but it really made the story a lot more interesting for both of us that were playing, and it's a really, really good game. It is out in retail. It's new. It just came out a couple weeks ago, so you should see this in your friendly local gaming store if you're interested. And there's a bunch of different boxes, so you mainly want to make sure you get your core box. It's expensive. This game, the core box retail version, will probably cost you $200. But there's a lot of stuff in it, and this game will take you 30 to 40 minutes just to set up before you can even do your first play.
So it's like Axis and Allies.
Yeah. You have all these cards, and you'll go. I mean, there's a ton of cards in this game. There's trays. So even in the retail version, it's like it's got the tray. Everything goes in its trays, and it's actually really nice. And there's a ton of books and different things. But the very first thing you'll see, it's like, read this, and they tell you 30 to 40 minutes to do the setup, and they walk you through. Open this pack, put these dividers in the tray, put these cards behind these certain dividers, and it takes about a half hour to 45 minutes to do all that. So don't wait till you sit down to play the game. You got to do this beforehand. So that's my biggest advice on Dragon Eclipse. Don't wait till you sit down. All right, we're going to play it, because you're going to waste an hour just trying to what goes where. So do that ahead of time.
So if you're hosting, set it up before everybody gets there.
Yes, give yourself ample time. Yeah. And you might want to go through the first scenario. So just kind of get a feel for it, which is what I did. So here's another thing about this game. You are either going to play this campaign, either in solo mode or in cooperative mode. You will not be able to bounce back and forth, because I figured, I'm going to just play and do a campaign, and I can kind of do my own thing. And then even we'll try co-op. Well, what happens is after you complete a scenario, you are opening new packs, booster packs, which isn't something you have to buy. Everything you need is in this game. So that when I say booster pack, don't think of like Star Wars or Magic where you got to go run out and buy booster packs. It's not like that. They basically have taken cards, put them in those little packages like we're used to ripping open, right? And they're in the game. All the cards are in the game. But after you do certain things, you'll have the opportunity to open a random booster pack and add more cards to your game. So it's kind of really cool. So what happens is that when you finish scenario 1, you're starting to put things away. Some miscelings might not get used, some might. So once you start a campaign, you kind of got to run all the way through, because you can't come back later and go, okay, I'm going to start over as a co-op, because now you have to reset everything back to the start. All the cards got to go back in the original start order. So you can't come in and start a new campaign with half the stuff unlocked. So, just an FYI. So I ended up resetting after my first scenario, and then we played it together and we redid the scenario 1. The good thing was when I went through scenario 1, they basically tell you to put these cards in a certain order when you're doing your first battle. So the battle's completely scripted, and they do that to teach you kind of the order of the combat. And then after it's done, they recommend to replay it, but to not, to shuffle up all the cards so that it's a random normal, and then play it that way. And that's what we did when we started our cooperative campaign. We didn't, because I had already run through it, so I was able to, teach Eva how to play it. So we really like this game. It's a lot of fun. So it is going to take you, they say 60 to 120 minutes playing time. I call bunk on this. There's no way you're doing a scenario in under 2 hours. We did one scenario and it was 4.5 hours. Now, granted, we were taking our time. We were referring back to the book, the rules, checking, because it was our second scenario. So and you're still learning things. So even in the second scenario, there's new things going on. And now, so when you first start your second one, now you're learning how to build your deck, which you didn't have in the first scenario. And then there's things you're doing in the middle of the game and later that weren't part of the scenario 1. So there's still more and more stuff coming into the game. It's growing, it's advancing, and it's a lot of fun. And so far the story is really interesting. So, but I've droned on about Dragon Eclipse probably way too long. So I'm going to move on. Not. It's if you've played Awakened Realm games before, this sucker's quality. If you've played things like Tainted Grail or ISS Vanguard or Nemesis, I mean, the miniatures are phenomenal. Everything is just high quality. The production is
they set the bar.
A+.
They set the bar.
They do
super high.
Yeah, them and Chip Theory are at the top.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can get better than that. But Awakened Realms is
not as smelly.
They go, I think, a level above because they just have all these miniatures as well that are so super detailed, and they look amazing.
The table presence is
incredible.
Yep.
Yes. All right. So let's move on to a smaller game. This plays 2 to 4 people. You can get it done in about an hour and 15. This is from Roxley Games. It's called Super Motherload. This came out 2015, so it's 10 years old. And this was on a sale in their store recently, which is and here's an interesting thing, Rob. Yeah. I've seen this game before. I had looked at it before when I was buying some stuff from the Roxley store before. And I looked at this and I was no, this looks dumb. Well, it was on a, I couldn't pass it up type of sale, right?
Sure.
And I'm well, I like Gavin Brown. He's one of the designers. And, I got this game. I have played this now multiple times, and I love this game. This is so much fun. It's a medium weight game, but it's very easy to teach, but adds there's a lot of strategy in how you play, and it's a mining game. So it's a card, it's like a deck building game. You start with some starter cards, but to gain more cards in your hand, you have to purchase them. And there's 4 different piles that you're going to have out, red, yellow, blue, yellow, red, and a wild stack. And you have to mine stuff. So you're on a planet. I don't know if you're on Mars or not, but you're on some planet and you're mining. Yeah, it is Mars. You're mining resources and stuff. So you are either drilling across or drilling down, but you're basically drilling these tunnels or blasting with bombs these tunnels to get the resources that are under the ground. And you have to start at the top. So the very first player has to mine at the top of the surface. After that, as long as your tunnels are connected to another tunnel orthogonally, then you can, and there's some other restrictions about whether you're drilling or blasting. So there's some different things there, but there's also if you achieve certain things in the game as you go, you can gain these cards, which give you points at the end of the game. And there's like artifacts defined, and like when the last artifact on a board has been found, you bring out another board and it slides underneath it. So now it's longer. And in a 3 to 4 player game, you will basically have 4 of these boards that come out. When you place a new one out, you will never have more than 2 out at a time. So when you're pulling the third one out, the very top one goes away because it's pretty much full anyways. But so you're only going to have no more than 2 boards on the table at a time, but you're constantly just drilling down further and further, getting more minerals, trying to get the cards in your hand that will help you benefit, but also gain victory points. So the cards cost more and more as you go down this little stack, but they get better and better. Like I said, you'll have 4 stacks of these, what they're called pilot cards, that you're going to try to buy. This is a just super fun game. And I really, really enjoy Super Motherload. So if you haven't heard of that one, check this thing out. It's good. All right, I got to get moving. I'm almost done. So I got 3 more to talk about. So the next one, I have played Arcs and I have played Root. Both are leader games. So a week ago yesterday, I went up to a different game group that's up north. I don't get to play there all the time because I'm usually pretty busy on Monday nights, but I had an opportunity to go up, and I played this game called Ahoy, which is also a leader games. And it reminds me of Root because it's asymmetrical powers and everyone's got something different. They got this clan, or I don't remember they were called clans, but I'm just using that as the term. You're taking on a role, and you have certain abilities, and it's a tile. The map gets built based on tiles coming out, a lot of like Clank Catacombs, which Clank Catacombs probably took it from this game because this was out before then, I think. Oh no, this was 2022. So who knows? They probably I think Clank Catacombs was probably around the same time. So, but anyways, if you're familiar with that, you get these tiles, you place them out. There's a certain way they go, but they have things on them that, might send your ship off this way, or you run into a pile of junk and you take damage. You might gain rewards by going into the junk, but it's also dice rolling. And, but what's really interesting about this is everyone's going to roll their dice, and then on their turn, they're going to take 2 dice and slot it into the board and determine what they're going to do, what action they're going to do. But what was cool in the game we played, we had 4 of us. 2 of us were basically playing a pick up and deliver game. The other 2 players were doing a area control game. So they had completely different abilities and things that they were doing, and they weren't doing like pick up and deliver. So me and Eva were doing that. We're both playing like, we're going to go to this island, and then we got to get things that then I got to take over this other island because they want these items, things like that, to turn them in. And when we turn those in, we get like victory points. But when we do turn those in, we also increase the value of the region, which helps the other people who are doing area control. So whoever's like in control of that area, when they score, they will score that. And if I'm up in the point value, I'm helping them score points. So it's this really neat, like, kind of, you get so used to like, I'm just trying to get my points, but at the same time, like, I can't deliver over here because this guy's close to me on the victory point and he has control of that area. So now I got to go to this other island where he doesn't have control, and maybe the other guy does, but maybe he's further down the road. So I'm fine with increasing his score because it's not going to get him to tie with me type of thing. So really, really fun game. I found it to be a lot easier to learn than I did Root the first time I played. And this was one I immediately went out and bought this thing, and I can't wait to play it again. And the good thing about this Ahoy is that now it has made me want to play Root again.
Really?
So when I played Root the first time, I was like, okay, I kind of walked away like, okay, I've played it. And it's on the shelf. It'll never come off again.
That was a while ago too, wasn't it?
It was a while ago, yeah. This one, I think, is a much better entry level and it's not an entry level game. It's almost a 3 out of 5. I mean, this is on BGG. It's a 2.96. It's not an easy game, but to me, it made more sense. I was able to kind of grasp this concept a lot easier than I did Root the first time. But when I was done and I went and I bought this game, I'm like, it made me think about Root. I'm like, you know what? I want to play Root again. I want to dive back into that because the way that plays is similar. It's different. It's not pirates, but all the characters there are playing different ways. But it's like, I really would like to go and learn it well, and then start to learn what the others are doing. And this one made me interested to go back and play another game as well. So I'm like, that's cool. I wish I had started with this one. So, but that is Ahoy. All right. I will say I played Clank Catacombs as well. I don't need to go into that. I've talked about that many times. And then another one that new for me to play was Busters. Yeah, I took this last Wednesday. We had 4 of us learning how to play, and oh my goodness, once we started, this is all we did the rest of the night. We really? Played this, I think, for 3 hours.
No way. Okay.
It was like, because like when we first started out, a mission, like a scenario or a little mission was like 10 minutes. It's like, oh, okay, we did it. And we were doing the training, because like the first 8 scenarios are just training. And then it goes in, there's like 66 missions in this whole game. And I'll tell you what, we only did 6. We lost several times, and we would replay it, trying to like beat it. And it was at one point they're like, okay, so you can jump ahead and skip the remaining and just go straight to mission 9 if you want, because you've learned. And we're like, well, let's play a couple more of these. we are at mission 6. I'm like, we couldn't even get through the training missions. So it can be really, really complicated, especially when you got someone like, I'm going to throw myself under the bus. This is a tough game for people who, how do I say this so I don't totally make myself look totally bad? I'm older. Sometimes I lose my train of thought, but everybody has like these racks, and they've got these wires that only they can see, and they're numbered. And you're basically trying to figure out the numbers and match numbers of wires without cutting the red wire. And you don't want to, if you are wrong, the timer kicks down. Like, if you wrong too many times, you're going to blow up the bomb. If you cut the red wire, you're going to blow up the bomb. And there's something if you cut the yellow wires. So you're trying to like match numbers and guess what other people have based on the way the wires are in the tray, but everything is random. And it gets, as you go forward, it gets harder because there's more yellow wires and more red wires and stuff. And it does. It's just like you're being like, oh my goodness, like your heart's pounding. You're just like, and like we'd pull one off. Like I remember we pulled one off. We're like, if we're wrong one more time, we blow up. And we ended up like getting it right. And we were just like, oh, thank goodness. We were so happy. And it was like, this is a really neat cooperative game where and it's a limited communication. So like someone else might know what I have or what like the person next to me has, but they can't just say, hey, Mark, go pick this, ask them for these, because you can't do that. So you got limited communication. And so we were trying to find ways around that. So, but it's really fun. And I'll tell you what, man, I cannot imagine what the mission 66 is going to be like when we're only in 6 and we're like, struggling with it. So, but it's super fun. And the missions do take more than 10 minutes the further you get into them. But it's one of those games I'm going to just keep in my bag. And when we're there, we can just, all right, let's just do one, even if it's the end of the night, hey, let's bust out a mission, or we'll start out. We usually this group shows up early. So we're like, all right, we're going to try and knock 1 or 2 out before we start. So yeah, Busters is really, really unique and a lot of fun.
Yeah. I've seen that one on the shelf at the stores. I got to take a closer look at it. it didn't pass the initial. Yeah, there you go.
Right there. Right next to Dragon Eclipse. So
I see fuzzy square 1, fuzzy square 2, fuzzy square
they're
3.
there, trust me.
Okay.
So, all right.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, so I got Mistborn to the table.
Ooh.
Mistborn is the latest game from the great John D. Clare. This is actually it's Mistborn, the deck building game, and let's see. It's so Mistborn is a series by Brandon Sanderson. It's supposed to be an incredible, like fantasy-ish series of books, novels, whatever you want to call them, and it seems interesting enough that I might spend some of my Audible credits and pick one up to see how it goes. But this is an interesting game. It's a let's see, what's a good way to put this? So it's a deck building game that you can play. So it plays up to 4 people. You can play it solo, and I'll call it a good adaptation of a solo game. You can play it cooperative, or you can play it up to 4 people. I'll say like competitively.
Okay.
But what it is, it's a different take on a traditional deck building game. You know, you have your, hand of 5 cards, starting deck of 10 cards. You got your money cards, you got your character cards, etc. And it uses what I'll call several forms of currency. So you have your normal in-game currency, and then you also have 8 different kinds of metal, like, tin, pewter, etc. And you spend your money to purchase cards from the marketplace, and then you spend your other, I'll call currency, the metals. Actually, so there's 8 metals and then 1 additional metal that's like a wild. So technically it's 9. But you use these metals then to activate your cards. So it's an interesting take on things. And then you could also flare your metals, which basically at the end of a turn, normally your metal comes back to you, and there's a limit on how many metals you can spend per turn, and it grows as the game goes on. And then you can flare metals, which kind of like burns them out, I guess is a good way to put it. And they don't come back automatically at the end of the turn. You actually have to go through a process to like untap them or to revive them or bring them back. But it's an interesting game. It's enjoyable. It plays really well. And the solo portion of it is interesting. Like, I know you and I have mentioned that it's really annoying to have like a ghost player, for example. Not that you could easily do that in a deck building game, but the way that this one functions is that when you play solo, you play against the Lord. Oh man, what is it? Lord something? Lord Ruler. That's it. You play against the Lord Ruler and try to complete these missions prior to the Lord Ruler killing you. And it is a bear to fight this dude, man. So he starts off with like 48 points. You start off with 36 points, and you've got to whittle this dude down. But there's these 3 mission cards that you play with, and as you play the game, you progress your little cube up this mission track on each of these cards, and it's like, I don't know, like 10 to a dozen different spots on it. So you have to progress up these tracks to complete the mission. And basically, this dude keeps healing himself. 10 points for every mission card that you don't have completed. So in the beginning, he's healing himself for 30 points, like for most of the game. So, it's, you can't even damage this guy. And if you do, it doesn't matter because it's like, oh, I got him for 1 point. He's down to 47. Oh, he heals 30. And it's just an interesting adaptation. And it's actually surprisingly fun. Well, not surprisingly fun. It's a John D. Clare game. He makes some solid stuff like Mystic Vale and that's like his other huge card game, I think. But anyway, it's a very enjoyable game. I'm looking forward to spending some more time with it. And that's Mistborn, the deck building game. So that's it for me. But
cool.
Let's see, where are we with things? Okay, so something that's on a lot of folks' mind is how to contact us. Well, I'm glad you asked because
how can people contact us, Rob?
Exactly. Well, they'll know in a couple seconds. Great way to contact us is you can email us at contact@thisboardgamelife. Comment on any of the YouTube videos. Definitely like and subscribe while you're doing that. Definitely helps us out. We definitely appreciate that. Or you can leave us a voicemail message on our website, thisboardgamelife.com. There's a little widget on the right-hand side where you can do a recording or heck, if you can bypass that and just record yourself on your phone. I've done that a whole bunch of times. It's really easy. And then just email that MP3 over to us at contact@thisboardgamelife. All righty. Let's get on to the news. Beep, 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 beep. Flash. Isn't that how it goes? Flash. All the ships at sea or something like that. Anyway, that's like that old time thing. I got a couple of things. So first off, out of the gate, you remember when we went to Gen Con and there was the big Magic the Gathering heist?
Yeah.
Where like these two dudes stole like $300,000 worth of Magic cards or something like that. They just walked in, took out a pallet or something. I remember there's like a video. Wasn't there like a video that you could actually see them like going like walking? And they were, I think they were there, right? Weren't they like, I want to say they were exhibitors or they were from some game company that was there. Anyway, not the smartest guys.
No.
But, yeah, I want to say it was like two guys. But the first of the folks was charged recently. So felony charges against Thomas J. Dunbar were reduced to lesser charges, to which he pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to 2 years of probation and ordered to pay restitution of $542.
And
that's from Pastimes Games, I think.
Yeah.
And $27,000 to Wizards of the Coast. And the probation will be served in New York. And he was ordered to write an apology letter to the Gen Con community to complete 10 hours of community service in Indiana and 30 hours of community service in New York. So all of these, all the stuff that they stole was recovered and returned to Wizards of the Coast. And Dunbar in particular is going to be barred from the ICC for 2 years. That's the Indianapolis Convention Center. So he cannot go to Gen Con for a couple years.
Why are they just... Why is he not banned for life? Like, he should never be able to go back. I don't know. I don't understand that.
I get it.
I'd imagine Gen Con will probably kick him out too.
Yeah. Yeah, he's probably barred from getting any badges or anything like that, or banned.
Yeah.
His co-conspirator is still under felony indictment. So I don't know. Maybe this guy, since he was sentenced first, maybe he's the lesser of the two. I don't know. It's just interesting that one got sentenced and the other didn't.
Yeah.
Whatever. So
dirtbags.
Yeah, exactly. They're like Grinches. They don't want people to have fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. Next up is there's a game called Citizens of the Spark. So this is a game that was on Kickstarter a while back, and I did back it. And it's designed by Philip Dubarry, one of my favorite designers. He's been on the show a couple times. So you can check that out from previous episodes. But Thunderworks Games is going to be releasing Citizens of the Spark to retail on August 5th. So just after Gen Con. And this game, players must recruit brilliant animal residents from the city to survive the days ahead. So it plays 1 to 5, 14 and up. It plays less than an hour with a retail price of $55. And so normally I wouldn't want to put any kind of Monopoly news into here. But I thought this was kind of interesting to some degree. I'm
so going to rip on this, but anyways.
There's been a couple of interesting Monopoly releases in the past. There's your typical Monopoly, then there's like Monopoly Chicago, Monopoly Chihuahuas, Monopoly New York, right? They retheme it so much. But once in a while, they've come out with some interesting takes on it. Like when my son was younger, we used to play this one. I want to say it was called Monopoly Empire or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually had little Xbox token.
Yep. That was Empire, yeah.
In it. Yeah, so that was kind of cool. There was Monopoly Deal, which is an okay card game. And there was...
Cheater's version. You get handcuffed if you get caught cheating.
Yep. And there was one... I forgot what it was called, but it had like Mario on the box. It was a white box, had Mario on it, and they had this thing where you would buy these like little packs, and it was like kind of like a, what do they call it? Like a gotcha thing, where you open the pack and then there's a figure inside. And Monopoly.
I see a bunch with Mario.
Yeah, I got to look it up now. And that was one that we played a whole bunch because my son just loved it.
There's like the Super Mario Brothers one, the Monopoly Gamer.
That's the one.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, that was kind of cool. And we actually still have that. But anyway, so there's a brand new one coming out, which is really geared towards kids, and it's called Monopoly App Banking. And when I saw this, I'm like, what the heck is this thing? So it's a Monopoly version geared towards kids, where you run an app on, insert device here, and there's no money involved, no counting required, right? So I don't know what age is 8 and up. Well, you'd figure that kids that are 8 can count.
Thank you.
But then again,
but in today's world,
schools nowadays
are not what they used to be.
Nope.
And
exactly.
never mind. I I'll wait till you're done.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's meant to be like a faster gameplay, and they kind of like change the properties around. I guess there's going to be like a rocket launch pad, alien skate park, etc. And the app is basically the banker and the bank. So kind of interesting. 2 to 6 players, ages 8 and up. Should it retail at around $25? It's going to have a stepped release. So Amazon is going to have it on June 1st. Retailers, it's about 6 weeks later, July 15th. And hobby stores are going to get it in August. So I thought that was kind of weird, right? So Amazon right away, then like retail distribution a couple weeks later, and then maybe like a month later, it's going to hit the FLGS.
FLGS doesn't want this garbage.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe they do. I know mine sells kids stuff, so they do.
So that brings up an interesting topic, because you almost need to have some of this stuff, because there's going to be a lot of people walking in off the street, go, hey, this is a game store. I'm looking for Monopoly. You know what I mean? It's like,
I get it.
You know that they get that kind of stuff.
Yeah, those people are going to come in going, how could you not have Monopoly? You're supposed to be a board game store.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but anyway, so you wanted to make some comments on this?
I have no problem with a kind of a junior version, and they have a Monopoly Junior.
Yeah.
Right? So the thing that kind of rubs me wrong is it's like a kid version with no cash, no counting, but for ages 8 and up. Kids at age 5 going into kindergarten are starting to learn to count.
Yep.
And I think by them saying, 8 and up, and they're taking the counting out, is not doing our children any good. It's ridiculous how many kids these days are graduating high school and can't count. This is the wrong way. An 8-year-old should be able to count. Now,
it's not an educational game.
They could tame it down a bit and make the counting or the numbers easier. But to take counting out of a game that all its life has been about counting money, right? I think it's going to, I just don't like this whole thing of like dumbing it down so that an 8-year-old doesn't have to know how to count. An 8-year-old should know how to count. That's my issue with this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just my own personal thing. So, but yeah, I ain't buying it. I mean, I don't have kids that young anymore, but I would not recommend this to anyone based on that. Kids at 8 and above should know how to count. They should be learning. Don't take it out. That's it. Okay, I'm done. I'm muting.
Well, they do say it's, so I imagine Monopoly Junior has counting in it. Right? I'm guessing of some kind. So this is supposed to be in between Junior and the OG version. But whatever. Okay. And
Monopoly Junior is for ages 5 to 8.
So this picks up where that left
They do
off.
buy properties. They do collect rent. Single bank notes keep the transactions fast and easy. So wondering if they're counting in that game. Maybe not, but maybe, because they talk about the one that comes after that is like, we've removed counting. Yep. Like, really?
Yep. All right. Then next up on June 21st, 2025, that's the summer solstice. We will have free RPG day. So this is, call it like a holiday, maybe, or an event. Happens every year in summer, June 21st this year. And usually you can go over to your local friendly local game store and pick up some RPG goodness. They're usually giving stuff away. So just want to make everybody aware of that when it's coming up. So that's in about 3-4 weeks as of when we're recording this. And then lastly, there's a game called Kalimala that came out a number of years ago from Alley Cat Games. There's going to be a remastered second edition that actually looks pretty interesting. This redo is pretty cool. It's got new art by Ian O'Toole, and it's going to be releasing sometime this summer. I don't know if we have a release date. At least I don't see one in this article. The original was released by Stronghold Games in 2018. So that was quite a while ago. But if you like Kalimala, definitely and are looking to pick up a copy. I don't know if it's been out of print or what happened with Kalimala after Stronghold changed hands. But here's our chance to get a new revised version of that. And that's it for the news.
So I'm going back to this, Rob, for just a quick second.
All right.
Monopoly Juniors for ages 5 to 8. Skills for the game are dice rolling and counting. They do have money. They do buy properties. They make change. So why the next game that comes out that's ages 8 and up removes the counting? If you are at 5 and can count, you should be able to count at 8. Society sucks. This is why our kids are getting dumber. Anyways,
Hey,
I'm
come
done.
on. The kids nowadays, they don't want to count. They're too busy scrolling.
Yep, that's all they can do is watch friggin' YouTube videos. Like us.
Oh, not even YouTube.
No, they don't watch this because we're long form.
Dude, saying YouTube is
I'm sorry. You're correct.
That's like talking about MySpace.
Yeah, it's TikToks or I don't even know the yellow one, the Snapchatting thing. I don't know. So
TikTok is the entertainment one. Hours of entertainment, one swipe up at a time, I guess.
Yeah, I've watched my kids and they're just like, they don't even watch them. They're just like,
oh yeah.
Bloop, bloop. And if they stop, it's like 5 seconds and they're moving on.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and they don't even watch the whole thing, like whatever it is.
No, I was like, wow, that you have no ability to just sit and watch anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then they like, Dad, well, I want to go see a movie. I'm not paying $100 for you to sit there and not pay attention.
Yeah.
The movie takes more than 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
And they won't let you have your phone in the theater.
Yeah. Then they're sitting there squirming.
Because at home, it's like, it kills me too. My daughter and all my kids will be sitting there with the TV on, watching something, but also on their phone.
Yep.
And then my 2 oldest also have captions on. I'm like, why? You have the volume on. And they're like, well, it's easier to understand with that on. But you're looking at your phone. You're not reading it.
Captions on the TV?
Closed captions.
On the TV?
Yeah. For whatever show they're watching.
Okay.
With
like
volume on.
I know when I, when I'm at the gym or actually anywhere and there's captions, I find myself reading the captions. I don't look at what's going on. You ever find that?
I can't. I make them. I'm like, no, if we're watching something with me. They're coming. You're turning them off. So
they're
always
school.
like, it'd make this movie better. The captions. I'm like, go to your room. You go watch it in your room then.
What would make this movie better? You putting your phone down.
Yeah, exactly.
Or get the vault, the little lockable Faraday cage.
There you go. Oh,
that's torture. Right. Torture. All right. So on to the main event. So Spiel des Jahres nominations were announced, sometime in the last 2 weeks, like 2 weeks ago, approximately.
May 20th.
Or a month ago.
7 days ago.
May 20th. That's right.
20th.
It's the 27th. That's right. I don't even know what's going on, man. Okay. So should we start off with the main one? Yeah, let's do the main one, then we'll do the Kenner, then the Kinder.
Okay.
So we'll just do the nominations. How do you want to do this? Let's do the nominations, of do our commentary on them, and then we'll do the
we'll
recommended.
Pick our winners.
Yeah, we'll do the recommended. Okay. So for the main event, for the main Spiel des Jahres nominations, we have one that we just talked about, Busters by Hisashi Hayashi and Cocktail Games. So I think we have that one as being a hit because you definitely like it, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Next one up is Flip 7 by Eric Olson and the OP Games. And that's the one that we played when I was visiting, right?
Also an excellent game, yep.
Yep. I concur with that one. And then the third one in the nominations is Krakel Orakel by D7, or actually, would that be like D7 Basis? I took German in high school, so I am in the know.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that I say anything properly. I know I should say Jahres. I still remember how to make that guttural.
I just sound like you threw up.
I know.
And that's not trying to offend the Germans.
Yeah.
I'm trying to offend Rob. I think he just butchered it.
Yeah. Anyway, so we've got Busters, Flip 7, and Krakel Orakel. So, Busters, we talked about that a little bit ago. Flip 7 is a press your luck card game. Right?
Yep.
And then Krakel Orakel is an interesting looking game where you get these like play mats with lines all over the place, and you're basically trying to draw something, right? I think that's how it goes. Like, you're trying to figure out some kind of discernible shape in this mess of lines.
But you're drawing whatever the card says, but you have to follow the lines. Like, you can't free draw it.
Right.
You have to use the lines to draw the image.
But you're free drawing, but following the lines, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if you needed to draw, I don't know, like a person, okay, you would need to follow it as best as you can to draw a deformed person of some kind. So definitely 3 interesting picks. So now, out of these 3, which do you think might be the winner? So with this one here, we have to remember, because so many times, we're like, how did they choose that one as the winner?
Yeah, exactly.
So for the regular Spiel des Jahres, it's basically just like a family game. A family game that a family's going to play after dinner and have fun. It's easy. It's accessible to everybody. It's quick to pick up. And did I mention it's fun?
And
easy.
I think my pick on this, I think what's going to win is Flip 7. And it's simply because it's extremely easy to pick up and learn. It's, you can teach this game in about 60 seconds. It's very simple. Everybody can play. Every time I've played it, it's a lot of fun. I don't know Crackle or Oracle. I don't know that game, so I can't, I have to cut out what I don't know. So, but I've played 2 of the 3. Bomb Busters is fantastic as well, but I think that for the Spiel des Jahres, my understanding is, like you said, it's supposed to be something simple, something fun, something kind of for everybody. It's kind of like a game that anybody off the street can just pick up and have a good time. Flip 7, I think, is that game. It's very easy. Bomb Busters there's more complexity to it, and it's not one like I wouldn't have my mother try to play this.
Yeah.
But Flip 7, absolutely. So I give it to that because I think Flip 7 meets that criteria. And I feel like Bomb Busters should be in a different category because I don't think it's just an easy pick up and play game. You have an 8 mission tutorial. That's not that easy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I picked Flip 7. So, but what about you?
So I was just looking up Crackle Oracle. So it's a 2-part game. So the first part, which is kind of like the Crackle, which is Crackle, means drawing simultaneously. So this is where everybody draws. They get a word card, and as soon as you know what to draw, there's a 2-minute timer, and then you are set off to do your drawing. And then Orakel means guessing words. So after the timer expires, then I guess players go through and they try to guess what it is. So it's definitely a party game.
Yeah.
And this one thing here says it's not just a party game, but it's a hilarious party game. So this would probably be really appealing to party game folks. So I would say, oh man, that's a tough decision between Flip 7 and Bomb Busters. I'm going to have to go Bomb Busters. It's
okay.
I'm just only saying that based off of there's a little bit more game to it than Flip 7, but I could easily see Flip 7 taking it.
Right. That's why I'm like, I feel like Bomb Busters is in the wrong category. Like it should be like in the Kenner Spiel category, in my opinion.
That was really kind of meaty games, though.
Well,
that's the only thing.
But Bomb Busters is not. It's not like these other 2 seem like very easy to pick up and play, and I just don't think Bomb Busters is there. But it'll be interesting to see what happens because I mean it is a fantastic game. So. Yeah, that's cool. I like that you're going with a different one because I do like
the one that's actually going to win is the one that I chose.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
So last year
we will be back. Let's see, was it July?
Well, okay. Well, look at this though. Last year was Sky Team. Sky Team, that's more of a game than Flip 7.
True.
But let me see. What were the nominations? Oh, was Captain Flip, In the Footsteps of Darwin, and Sky Team. And Sky Team won.
Yeah.
But I can easily...
Captain Flip is more of a Flip 7, in my opinion. Much easier to pick up and play than like Sky Team.
Yeah.
there's definitely more of a learning curve with that. So,
let me see. In 23, it was Dorf Romantic, that one.
This is a great game.
And
great
then
game.
Next Station London and Fun Facts were the other two. Check 22.
So here's another thing.
Yeah.
It could be and Crackle Oracle is from a German developer, right?
Yeah, it's only in German at this time.
So you look at the winners of last year.
This is a German award. So.
I know, but look at the last 2 years, the winners were German.
Well, okay, so we had Cascadia in 22. So that's AEG, right? AEG and Flat Out.
Cosmos and Scorpion Mask was Sky Team last year. Before that was
Sky
Pegasus Games with Dorf Romantic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, the last 2 years, and then what? Yeah, you got Cascadia 2022. But then you got Johann Sich with Micro Macro Crime City the year before that.
That's crazy. That game's not playable with anybody over 40 because everything's too small.
So, I mean, it could be the drawing game just simply because it is a German game.
No.
I mean, I could play that card, right?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna stick with Flip 7. I think it fits into what they claim this award is for.
Yep.
And I think Bomb Busters doesn't fit this category, but it could end up winning, like you said, based on past history. So we'll see. This will be cool to July 13th, we will know.
Exactly. So then outside of those 3 that were nominated, we have 6 titles that were recommended. So to me, recommended means that they were probably considered, but they didn't make the final cut. There's Agent Avenue, Castle Combo, Cities. That's a great game, right?
Cities is awesome, yes.
Foxy, Perfect Words, and The Animals of Baker Street.
See, Cities, to me, fits this category more than Bomb Busters does. Just because of, again, it's something you can pick up, learn quickly, teach it to everyone. Bomb Busters continues to just get harder and harder, and it's not a game for everyone. It really isn't. But, again, that's just, just me.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So moving on to the Kenner Spiel, we have the following 3 nominations. We have Endeavor Deep Sea by Carl de Visser, Jarrett Gray and Burnt Island Games. Oh, and the Grand Gamers Guild. Far Away by Johannes Gaupi and Corentin Lebrat with Ketchup Games. And Loot. Isn't that how you said it?
Loot. There's 3 O's in there. You gotta go.
Loot. By Charles Chevalier and Laurent Escoffier and Gigamic. So, what are your thoughts on these? I know you've. I don't
only
think
played one.
Yeah,
I've only played one of these, right? 3. Yes, and I'm giving it to Far Away because this was a game that I don't remember how I ended up with it. It was nothing I was interested in. I think it was one of those, I need another $20 or something to get my free shipping. I think it was something like that.
Yep.
And oh my goodness, this game is so much fun. Like it was really hard for me to understand. It's like 3 steps, right? But it was like learning how to play. It's like you had to play it through to understand it the first time because it was like so confusing. But it's like because you're playing things out and then you're scoring in reverse order. And once like you have that concept down, it's like, oh, okay. So every time you're playing a card, you've got to think forward of what to score this. When it gets to scoring, you have to have these things later on in your line. And I just find this thing really fun. I really like. Now I have not played either of the other two, but I'm going to give it to Faraway just because I really like this game a lot. And that's the only reason they're getting in my vote. And it's not. I mean, I haven't played the other two, so I don't. I honestly don't know.
No. So
I've actually looked at Loot a couple times. So
well, now it's going to be hard to get.
Loot. Yes, it will be.
Actually, it's good you got Faraway when you did.
Exactly. Let me see if I can even get this thing from my favorite place. It is in stock. Loot is in stock. There's only 3 in stock.
Yeah, so for me, looking at these, so it's kind of a tough one. So Kenner's Spiel is supposed to be more of a, call it like a hobbyist style game. You know, a little more meaty than the regular SDJ winner.
Right.
So actually, let me check some of the prior ones. So in 22 for Kenner, we had Kinder. The winner was Living Forest. With Cryptid and Dune Imperium as being the other nominations. In 23, we had
Iki. Don't even say it. Don't even say it.
Oh yeah. So we had Iki,
we don't need
Planet
to go there.
Unknown, and the winner was Challengers.
Freaking worst freaking game ever.
And Planet Unknown is great.
Should have won that.
Yes.
How? Oh, come on! It irritates me.
Yeah. And Iki was by I love that name. Sorry, we are French. And then last year, I don't even remember what those were last year. Last year we had Kenner's Spiel. Daybreak was the winner from Matt Leacock. And then we had the Guild of Merchant Explorers and Ticket to Ride Legacy. Legends of the West. Those were nominated. So that gives you kind of an idea of the weight, right?
Yeah.
From the previous winners.
So Endeavor is not going to win.
You think?
It's too heavy, I think.
What's the rating on that one? If we look at our good friend BGG, that has a weight of 2.89. So that is,
a medium.
Medium-ish, right?
Yeah.
Loot comes in at 211.
Faraway's 189.
Okay. I would say, using my scientific tabulation and analysis and stuff like that. How do you like that? And stuff like that. I'm going to say Loot. Loot.
All right.
Actually, Loot. I am the winner.
Okay.
There we go.
Watch us both be wrong in every one of these.
That's fine. It's not the first time I was wrong, and it's not the last.
True.
Actually, I don't think I got any of them last time. I don't think either one of us thought Challengers would win.
No, gosh, no.
What were the other ones? Let me see. Last year, I think... Oh, no. Last year for Kinner was Daybreak. Right? Daybreak, Merchant Explorers, and Ticket to Ride. I want to say I did Guild of Merchant Explorers. But anyway. Okay. So, and which one did you choose?
I chose Far Away.
Okay. And then the Kinderspiel. So this is the one that we're kind of flat out guessing here, because I don't think either of us has played any of these games here. So we have, for nominations, Cascadia Jr. by Fertessa Elise and Randy Flynn from Flat Out Games. We have Le Cien de Souris by Christophe Loris and Debacle. That's gotta be wrong.
I love listening to you.
Yeah,
have to do this. I butcher these names all the time, man.
And then Top Detort. It's like, I think, by Wolfgang Warsch and Schmidt Spiel. Man, just by seeing who made these games, I would easily hand it to Wolfgang Warsch.
Yes, that's my pick.
Because wasn't it like 2 or 3 years ago he had like 3 games that were up for SDJ in the different classes? Yeah,
right. Yep. It's not his first rodeo.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not his first award show.
Yeah, and I want to say that year, I mean, that was like, he was like a new designer and he came out strong. But yeah, so Cascadia Jr., of course, is, Cascadia. Fun game. The other one, something about mice. Le Clan de Souris. Little mice venture into the woods in search of teeth for the Tooth Fairy. Okay. And then what is Top Detort? Pastry chefs. What?
I just with Wolfgang, like, he does such a great job. It's like, I got to give it to him.
So that one is pastry chefs compete in a cake topping tournament. Yeah, build your cake, etc. Yeah, I'll have to go with that one as well. So we're Top Detort for both of us. Actually, I'm just going to copy and paste what you wrote to make it even easier. How about that?
Copier.
Yes.
Follower. You can't go your own way.
Hey, prior to that, so this year's interesting. Actually, we should look back at what we did. What is that, like 26 episodes ago, approximately? So somewhere around
last year.
Yeah, and see what we chose, see what we got for the winners and how close we were. Because I don't remember. I barely remember yesterday, let alone a year ago. So when are these going to be announced? It's like in July, right?
July 13th.
July 13th. Okay. So we'll revisit this in a couple weeks, just prior to Gen Con, and see how that all goes. So good luck to everybody. A lot of good games are up for this. Oh, and I didn't read what the other recommended games were for this. They recommended 3 other titles: Hilo, Dine, Koningreich, Isla a la Vista, and Syllabus were nominated. For the Kenner Spiel, they nominated the additional recommended were The Gang, Cowrie, Medical Mysteries, New York City, Emergency Room, and Zenith. I don't think I've heard of any of those. Interesting. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Good luck to all of the contestants. And you know what? Whoever wins, we all win. Because they're all great games. All right, so I think that's it for this episode. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
So, all right. I have our list of what we picked last year.
Okay.
So, for the Spiel, you picked In the Footsteps of Darwin, and I picked Sky Team.
Okay, so you got that one. Well done.
You picked Guild of Merchant Explorers, and I picked Ticket to Ride Legacy. Which
one won that one? Ticket to Ride?
No. Sky Team did. I'm sorry. Wrong one. I don't know. I thought you had that list up.
Here, Daybreak won the Kenner.
Okay.
Okay, so neither of us got that one.
And then the third one, you had Die Magischen Schlüssel, and I had Taco Kitten Pizza.
Junior,
okay.
Yeah, Die Magician Schlüssel, a.k.a. Magic Keys, by Marcus Slowicek and Arno Steinvender. That one, so I got that one.
So we each got one right last year.
Yep.
All right, so we got to see if we can improve on it this year.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks for looking that up, by the way.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
I was curious. So.
And I'm glad we keep show notes. We archive them.
Yep.
All right, so that's it for episode number 97.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. For 97, the Spiel des Jahres nomination show. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll catch you again in 2 weeks with episode 98.
And we will see you at the table.